what you're doing is there's 4 hot buttons with some underlying reason underneath the hot buttons. You hit the hot buttons off. Boop, 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 boop. With the underlying reason, what you get is motivation. You wouldn't necessarily get decision, but you get motivation. So now we've fired off the motivation for our particular product, then we would close on the strategy that we elicited like we did yesterday. Also, when I was running through, if I was to run through Ruth's strategy to close her, if there was an AD portion in the strategy, I would reiterate those values because that's what she's going to be checking in the AD portion of the strategy. Okay? Questions? See how that works?
Just a big observation. You knew it was coming, you knew it was a mismatch, and still you were horrified.
Absolutely.
Just absolutely, completely horrified.
Yeah. So imagine if you haven't got somebody who's as educated. Yeah. They just think that you're like driving them crazy. You know, they'll be like, "What's this person on?" And I think we've all been in meetings like that where somebody's been. And it's like, I don't know why I'm responding this way to this person, but this person is driving me nuts. I've got to get them out of the place as quickly as possible. Yeah. But then also notice, Ruth knew what was coming, but as far as like playing the values back, it's a completely unconscious automatic response. Yes. And you're getting the nods. You're getting the nods all the way along. Yeah. Imagine you've got somebody who doesn't know anything about values, doesn't know what you're doing. These questions are very innocuous. They sound like quite natural questions. They're very powerful questions. And imagine that even when you actually fire the values off, it's in meeting number 2. So they can't even remember the questions you asked them in meeting number 1. The slides come up with their values on, telling exactly how you satisfy the reason why those things are important. It's the person's there. Yes, this is it. This is it. And they think you've just happened to have hit the nail on the head. But in actual fact, it's all been very, very carefully worked out. Yeah? Yes, Trevor.
I think I may have missed something because I'm not feeling very bright today, but the use of the meta programs in what you're doing. I understand the unique selling purpose versus unique buying range.
Yep.
But when you're presenting the close, when you're presenting the match between the UBPs and the USPs,
yep.
is it the meta programs that's driving the way you present that match, or is it just adding extra information? I'm quite sure.
It's actually
explicitly used her meta programs in the close you just did with her, where you matched perfectly.
I didn't use their meta programs because I didn't know them.
If you had done a meta program,
yes.
What's it driving? Is it the way you do the match or something else?
So I'd hit off the values like I just did, but also if there was for instance, if there was from the relationship meta program point of view, I'd also be satisfying that and matching that as to whether it's sameness with exception, sameness and difference, balanced, difference with exception, or total difference. I'd also be matching that. If there were, for a frame of reference, if it was internal with an external check, I'd be making sure that I provided the external check. Yeah.
Now, when you're doing a meta program elicitation, you're going to get 2 sets of results. You're going to get personal ones. You're going to get kind of corporate ones, because there are going to be corporate type drivers, aren't there?
Meta programs in general tend to go across context.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm doing a meta program elicitation on a buying committee, half a dozen people, in the first meeting, because I really like the idea of the first meeting and the second meeting,
yep.
Close it all off. You're going to get 2 sets. You're going to get individuals drivers, and you're going to get the corporate ones, because they're going to be corporate as well as individual.
In that case, I'd go like, okay, I'd want to know who's actually making the decision.
Yeah, so you're going to focus on that person.
Yeah. So I'd get the ones of the person who's making the decision, and I'd get the group ones.
Well, would you agree there is such a thing as a corporate meta program?
I think when you get a group getting together, there will be there could be group values, there could be group meta programs. Yeah. And the key thing I'm interested in is the person who's actually making the decision, because there will be one, even if the company likes to pride themselves on the fact that there isn't one. There is. So in the situation with the back office systems people, I was a fly on the wall. I sat in on some of their sales meetings, and just observing. At the end of the meeting, I'd give them feedback as to what was going on. And I said, they said, what did you make of the meeting? I said, good. I said, the person you need to focus on is this person, this guy who sat there. He said, you're absolutely right, but how did you work that out? I said, because he arrived late, and nobody else batted an eyelid. So only the person who's ultimately in charge can arrive late and nobody bat an eyelid about it. So I said, he's the guy. He's the man. He's the person you need to ultimately sell to. And he actually had a prime concern. So they asked the question, so why are you looking at a new back office system? And he slammed the table with his fist, bang, to get out of this dreadful situation we're in right now. I said, you fire off that prime concern in the next meeting, you'll have got the deal. Slide. How we can enable you to get out of your current situation. Bam, 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 bam. I said, he'll light up like a Christmas tree. Just make sure he's got his checkbook with him. I said, the deal is done. The deal is done. And if your competition don't hit off that prime concern, which I doubt if they will, you've got it. You've got the deal. It's already in the bag.
Is that about it's obviously the value thing, but is that just as much about the expression of away?
Yes, it's a huge away from, which is why it's like a really primary concern for this entire situation. Hit that off, and literally, and if the thing to do would be actually to match it, actually when you're selling to them, actually go, look, the most important thing for us right at this particular point in time in working for you is to enable you to get out of this dreadful situation you're in right now. At which point in time, what he would do is go like, yes, that's it, bam, got it. Give me a sign on the bottom line. Check inside. Yep. Good. That's excellent, Ruth. Thank you. The rest is there.